All right, we're on.
All right.
Also, just
Welcome.
for reference.
Oh, motherfucker. Put that at the start of the video as well.
All right, go.
What's the reference?
It doesn't matter. Go.
Welcome to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we, and by we I mean me, Appo, and my co-host / co-founder Vincent, we dive into the streaming service and we tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth it and what is not. And Vincent, we're on Moon Knight episode 2. It's what we're doing here.
We absolutely are.
Now, just for those who listened to it last week and the last 2 weeks, we're sorry for these audio issues that have been occurring.
I do not know what's happening. We had our situation set up. You know, we come in, all the equipment is configured. We press record and the magic happens. But the last 2 weeks, I don't know. I was at a loss for what happened. It was.
But we've at least figured out one of the issues.
Yes.
We figured out one of the issues, so hopefully this content today will be clearer.
Yeah,
will be
I've also got contingency plans, so hopefully that is what will be all right. Is what I think will be all right.
Okay, well I hope so. The one issue that I have is I have a flickering light right here. Just everything's gone wrong today.
Yeah, but
this is a day of things going wrong.
It's daylight saving has ended. What else do you expect?
You know, eventually, you know, when we both get the vid, when we both get it, well, then we'll go back into the stew. I mean that's fair enough, right?
Yeah,
like, we'll just get it.
Really? I mean, the likelihood of me getting it at this point is almost 0%. I have.
You're going to be one of the.
I have very little contact with the outside world.
You're going to be one of the people that they study like in years to come. Oh, mother flippers, man! Ah, damn it!
What?
I got technical difficulties on this end. Hold on a second. I know we're not even 3 minutes in, and I got technical difficulties.
Right.
Hold on a second. Let me just put this on charge. I just got to put this on charge.
Let me just.
Right. Are you getting phone calls as well?
I'm getting damn phone calls. It's happening. Hello.
Jesus Christ!
I'm doing a podcast. Delete it all. Just delete it. Just delete it all. Well, there's no episodes recorded, so there's not like everything's out. Delete it. Ori knows.
All right. Man, he's talking to Mick and Ori like they get more views than it. Man, I just hit the camera. Dude, everything that could go wrong is gone wrong. I'm sorry, Vincent. You won't be able to see me for this podcast.
That's right, man. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you know,
you're just looking at the roof.
I'm just looking at the roof. It's just another day at the office for us. You know, it's.
Imagine if our content was actually good, so that people would move past this issue.
Nah, bro. People don't even get to this issue.
They get to welcome and they leave.
They get to welcome. That's right. All right, so
Vincent, let's get into Moon Knight.
We're getting into Moon Knight. I'm looking
sorry,
up at your air conditioning vents and half a painting.
This is what you're just gonna have to do. I mean,
okay, all right.
Hey, but Vincent, look, let's get into Moon Knight. Let's get into Moon Knight episode 2 specifically.
Yeah.
Which is, man, I forgot the name of this stupid episode. This is the worst.
It's called something about the suit.
Something about the suit.
Summon the suit.
Summon the suit.
Summon the suit.
Summon the suit. Now, Vincent, I want to tell you off the bat right now, you know, 4 minutes into this, 5 minutes into this, I'm not sure exactly where we're at, maybe 3. But this was an episode of a show that I did not like.
Ah, interesting. This was an episode of a show that I did like.
Yeah, I knew you'd like it. Yeah. You know. Non-like-minded individual.
All right, tell me why you didn't like it.
Well, here's the thing, right? Oscar Isaacs, I cannot fault that man as to what he's doing in this show.
No, he's an absolutely impeccable actor.
Oh, his acting is impeccable. I love his accent. I love his character as the the Stephen Grant character. I think that he as a character is hilarious, relatable,
Yep.
and also like, you know, there's that cute element to this man. Even though, you know, he's a man that's quite handsome in this show as Stephen Grant, he's quite cute, you know. So he's got all those things going for him. He's got the hair as well. He's got the jawline. He's got like good ears. He's got everything going for him.
Yeah.
So I cannot fault Oscar Isaacs one bit. What I can fault though is that this episode felt like it started off, and I felt like we were going to get somewhere, and by the end of it we got there, but I was not really happy with the journey throughout. Like we knew that scarab was something of importance. We knew that it was a compass of sorts, and then it got to the end and the bad guy got the scarab, but in between, nothing of note, nothing of excitement happened, in my opinion, and I'll get into why as well. But I just felt like it was a nothing episode, and you know what? Oh, I'm not here anymore for the reluctant superhero trope. I'm not here for that anymore. I left that behind, man. I left the reluctancy of these people behind many years ago. I'm not here for that trope anymore. And that's just the reality of this thing, you know. I should be wearing a hat right now because I've just got the microphone. No pop filters, no nothing. I'm just going at this bare bone. I should be wearing a hat as well, you know. And yeah, no. And I'll get into more of these reasons, but that's just the, you know, the top of it all, and then I'll dive into the depths. But what were your thoughts on this episode? Because I don't want to take over too much.
Okay. Well, I was enjoying you taking over. That was entertaining for me. So the thing that I liked about this episode was that you still were following Stephen Grant, you know, my man's who has no idea what's going on, and you were still in the same boat. You were still having absolutely no idea what's going on. You were confused. You were trying to piece together. You were in the same position as him. You were following the same story, and you were almost in it with him. That's one of the things that I really liked. And I liked how, I mean, Mans is just trying to work out what's happening. You know, he's opening up storage lockers, and you know, he should have seen enough movies to know that you open up a storage locker, there's trouble. But there's not one person on this world could tell me that they have a storage locker that's not trouble.
I mean, that's trouble. I mean, have you seen that Storage Wars? Have you seen that show?
There's trouble.
That's trouble. That's trouble. And like you pay $15,000 for a storage unit, and you might end up getting used papers. Well, that's what you might get. That's just Storage Wars. That's just the thrill of the buy, I guess.
But that's just trouble, though.
That's trouble. That's trouble. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I really liked. I agree that the ending was a bit. Yeah, I could take it or leave it. I mean, the dude was fighting an invisible thing to everyone else except for him. That was, yeah. I was watching.
Yeah, but he was reluctantly fighting it. This is part of the issue. Like, I get it. You know, when I say the reluctant superhero, I don't mean that he's, you know, of course you can be upset about your role and not wanting to take that on because there's other, you know, with great power and whatnot, right? You know the quote.
Yeah, don't say that, or this podcast will end prematurely.
But the reluctancy within the actual fight with this beast. If I'm getting hit, and don't hit me with the, you know, flight or fight and freeze, because I'm not here for that right now. Mans is wearing a super suit. Okay, Mans is not a real person. Mans is wearing a super suit. If I'm getting beaten up by this jackal, this Egyptian jackal, I'm throwing hands, even if they're not the most, you know, well timed, or, you know, I'm not holding up the guard well. I'm not doing any of that. I'm still throwing hands as best as I can. And in this case, he's got sticks. Mans has got sticks, and he didn't throw one single stick.
Well, he also punched the jackal, and it was successful.
Exactly. So why is there reluctancy after that?
He had the data to extrapolate, you know, what else could happen based on previous events.
And that's the thing. Like, you didn't need to summon the other suit. He had his suit. Obviously, what we gathered from this episode was that there are two suits. There's the one that we saw out of episode 1, which is when Mark Spector takes over. And then there is the suit that Stephen Grant can summon, which is he looks like a man in a suit. I think in the comics he's referred to as Mr. Knight.
Yeah.
Mr. K Knight.
So this is, I haven't done any more research. I'm not doing any
don't
research.
Don't look at research
because
I'll slap you through the phone.
Because I can see you're already in a hostile mood, and you're reluctant for you're over the reluctant superheroes, and you're over me already.
And I'm over this light that's flickering in my house. Because any other light that I put on makes me look like whited out.
Hey, do you know how many back catalogue members it takes to change a light bulb?
How many, man? You got any answers on that?
I don't have an answer. I just thought that's a joke that people say.
Do you know the song Soldier Boy and some other heads "Kiss Me Through the Phone"?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm about to slap you through the phone. That's going to be the new hottest track of autumn.
Oh man. So anyway,
look, we shouldn't laugh about that, but let's go on.
Well, you shouldn't laugh about the new hottest track of autumn.
Yeah.
Is that because like Dua Lipa already got that joint on lock?
I mean, I'll enjoy anything Dua Lipa brings out. That's fame, that's credibility, and that's talent. That's all those three things.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on with your points.
So anyway, from what I could gather from this episode, the information that was presented to me, and I've only watched this episode once. I haven't looked up anything. I reckon what has happened is this Mark Spector. Mark Spector.
Yeah.
Mans was damn near death. Like Mans was about to die, and Khonshu was like, "That's all right. I'll zip you into this other body." Like this man's he's already divided. He's got dissociative identity disorder, whatever they say here. He's got a so-called weak mind in, I don't know, Egyptian god terms, and they've just whipped him in there, and he's been like, all right, I'll summon you, and you come out and do what you need to do, and then you give the body back to Grant Stevens, and he can do gift shop things.
Right.
That's what I reckon's happened.
You spent 25 seconds to tell me what they told us in the show.
What do you mean?
I want your opinions on the matter.
I'm just saying that's what I can gather from the. That's
I
the
think you're
situation
correct.
that's
Though.
going
I think
on.
you're correct.
Yeah, they didn't explicitly say that, did that?
No. I think that it's not explicit. It isn't explicit.
No, it's implicit.
It's implicit. But there's also, I'm assuming, as well to that, there was that incident that happened where the 15 reporters or whatever were shot in the back of the head. I'm assuming we will learn more about that, and that will be something that will lead to what you're saying. Maybe Mark Stevens was the man, whatever the man's name is, not Mark Stevens. Mark Spector was the bloke who was a part of that, or was the bloke who escaped. I don't know. We'll probably figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming when we get to Egypt, there'll be some thing that they touch, and then all their history will be revealed, and you'll know more about them.
They'll rub the magic scarab beetle, and it'll have like a ball of crystal ball that'll tell the past or the future.
It will do both, but here's the thing that I'll hope happens. I was about to get into something that I didn't like, but then you just made me think of something. Imagine they stroke the scarab beetle, right? They just start stroking it, and then they got that little bowl that you said, the magic bowl, and then bam, just Brendan Fraser pops out, and just Brendan Fraser's in this show.
That would be wild.
And he's like, "It's me, Brendan Fraser from The Mummy," and he just says that, and then he's in the show.
And then he just says, like, "Hey, looks like you're on the wrong side of the river."
And that would be the peak of this show for me, and I will return to enjoying it. And another thing that I didn't like as much, and we got into it a bit last week, but there was a couple things in here where, I mean, this was a show in which they said, well, Oscar Isaac said that they're going to take mental health seriously,
Yeah.
right? And look, if he didn't say that in an interview, I would not mind how they approach this situation. But the fact that he's brought that up, and I know that this is only the second episode, so maybe things will change, but the way that they approached mental illness in this episode, I don't think was appropriate. Not that it wasn't appropriate, but I don't think that it took it seriously.
Yeah, how so?
There was one good quote that I really liked where he said, "I'm not broken, I just need a little bit of help."
Yeah.
I think that's a great quote. And it wasn't anything major, but it was something that, someone who is experiencing something, if they're in a space where they can see that they're not broken, they just need some help, they're in a positive space.
Yeah.
And I think that was also a time in which Stephen Grant in this episode, he was realizing that this is when he was in that cult area. He was realizing that even though they were sharing all those things with him, he wasn't in a safe space and he wanted to get out of that space. So I think that worked really well. But there's the scene earlier on in which Stephen Grant gets taken into HR.
Yeah.
And, they're doing HR things. And like, look, I've never, Oscar Isaac should have said, they're taking HR seriously in this, because I've never seen HR depicted so well on screen, But when the member from the HR gives him the pamphlet, it's almost taken as a joke that he would go and seek out this support. And I feel that, and I don't know if this is just the way that I approach movies and I approach content, but what I thought from that situation was that what the person from HR was doing was a bad thing by giving him that pamphlet to seek out help. Because we want him to have these experiences so that the plot can progress. And I mean, I know you can't make a show where he just goes to, mental health supports and then the show finishes and it's like, Moon Knight will return in season 2. But I think that the fact that scene could be taken as a comedic scene is something that isn't necessarily appropriate, because like the accessing of therapy and any form of counseling is not something that just has to happen if someone has specific mental health challenges. It's something that should be open and safe and comfortable for anyone to do.
Yeah.
And anyone to be. But I think when we depict it in that way where it becomes a joke, heads like who may, be thinking, I'm going to seek out some counseling, they go, oh, wait, but are people going to think I'm like, are people going to think I'm weird or different, or are people going to laugh at me, or are people going to whatever,
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I didn't like about this episode. But again, this is one episode in a series of 6.
That's right.
So I can't judge the entire series on a couple of things. But that was just some points that I thought I would raise here on this podcast. 18 minutes in.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, yeah, I'd probably. I didn't think that deeply about it in this episode.
Well, look, man, that's fair enough. The thing that I'll let me say a couple positives about this show, about this episode specifically. I really liked when Stephen went to the cult and when he first got there. And there was all the heads like sitting up there, and there's this man's from Sao Paulo, and he does like a killer lentil soup, bro. Like come on and see, because it was just exactly what you would assume a cult to be like.
Yeah, like
just
he's
calming presence,
talking in whatever language, like if he's talking like, this man's from Italy, like he came as a refugee from Italy. Hey, Maron, and that goes on to the next bloke,
He's just like Walio, and then like that, goes on to the next bloke. No, that's exactly what you'd assume a cult would be like. It would just be, on the surface, it looks like the greatest place on earth. Like you got fire lentil soup. Not only do you have lentil soup, but this is lentil soup that I woke up early in the morning to cook.
Yeah,
I made this from the morning, man. This has got love and care involved in this.
Yeah, I think the whole cult scene was pretty top tier. because it felt like, you know, both sides almost had kind of valid arguments if you look at it from that side's perspective. But then, you know, obviously Stephen Grant's out here questioning things, and the cult man's like saying cult things, and you're like, yeah, this is 100% cult things.
Well, especially when he's like, you know, I'll kill a baby.
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
kill a baby if
that's
I have
right.
to. Like he doesn't say those words exactly, but you know, Ethan
it's
Hawke
inferred.
says similar words. It's inferred, yeah. But I do love. I think that's a trope of cult things, and I know that that's probably a trope of just cults in general. But I do love that it's like it's a thing that can unravel in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Like, you know, you ask a
You know,
few
like-
questions, and then the whole philosophy just crumbles.
Like, you know, you walk into the place. There's bloody whatever that Manson man's name is. What's that man's name?
Marilyn?
Charles Manson. You walk in there. No, not Marilyn. Marilyn's the singer.
Charles Manson.
You walk in there. Charles Manson is there. You're like, hey, brother, I want to join this cult. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, bro. Like, we do things here. We do good things. You know, we got lentil soups over here. We got fakes over there. You know, which is just a Greek version of lentil soup. And then this is where we're killing people. Excuse me. Like, that's how quickly this unraveled for these people.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like,
don't you think that's wrong, Mr. Manson? Yeah, no, but they like might you know, do something wrong in the next hour or so. Like, you don't know, but like we'll get rid of them just in case.
If you're doing that as a cult, you got to rethink your strategies. I mean, look, this might be movie cults. I haven't joined a cult recently, at least. But if you're unraveling your plans early on in the piece, you're not going to get many people.
Well, I mean, that lentil soup must be pretty good because they got a few heads there.
That's fine, and it kept Stevens around for a while, as well. What were some hits for you in this episode here?
I mean, Grant Stevens was a hit. You know, I just enjoyed him. I just enjoyed watching him try to make sense of it all. And I think the character, him as a character, is pretty top tier. I think. I also love how Mark Spector, you know, his hairstyle was just like, you know, he's got them curls as like a fringe. I think that was pretty funny.
And that's the difference between him and the other man's.
Yeah, but and he's frowning a little bit more. That's it.
Yeah, he's a lot more broody. He's a lot more broody than Stevens, which is, I mean, that's acting things, isn't it?
That's absolutely acting things.
If you had me and another version of me, I would not be able to depict that just by my face.
Nah, you'd need some sort of curly fringe.
And you know, I've got the M. You know, I pushed that back and I got the M. So that's just me though. That's just me things. What was I going to say? Do you think that the golden man, you know, that man that Stevens talks to, he talked to him in the first episode to get advice from him. He talked to him in this episode, and he got advice from him. Do you reckon that man's going to be something later on in this show?
I don't know. Maybe he's a superhero. Maybe he's like Anubis's avatar.
Well, because there's 3, right? There's 3 that were missing from that photo. Or was there just 2?
I think it was 2. But I don't think those 2. I don't think it matters. But like,
but the two that were missing. I was going to say the 2 that were missing were the ones that are specifically Khonshu and the other
Amit.
The Ethan Hawke's
Amit. Yeah, are you sure?
Amit. I believe that's what it was.
Because I
mean, I'll have to go back and watch
it, and I didn't hear anything.
Okay, well, if you go back and rewatch it again for a third time, if you're feeling that way, there's a scene where Stephen is talking to his boss, and he's like, I saw on the poster there was 2 people missing. But you know, that's neither here nor there for this point in time and this point in our lives.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. I remember because I was paying careful attention. He didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything. He just stand there with his mouth gaped wide open, just not saying a thing. Which is fantastic. But you know what? Can I tell you to you, Vincent?
Yeah.
We had 2 opportunities in here to have some killer fight scenes. One where Grant Stevens or whatever the man's name is. Man, I hate these names. Is it Stephen Grant?
Stephen Grant? No. Grant Stevens and Mark Spector.
Grant Stevens,
No, it's
right?
Stephen Grant.
Where Grant
it's Stephen
Stevens.
Grant. It's Stephen Grant.
I'm gonna get Oscar Isaac and I'm gonna tell him like you gotta change things up.
You can't have
anyway.
two first names, my man. Like Oscar Isaac? Come on, bro.
It's too confusing for me. But there was the scene in which we had the British man, and he was dressed as with the suit on, with the Mr. Knight suit on, and then there was a scene in which the American man took over, and he was dressed in the traditional Moon Knight suit.
Yeah.
Neither of those scenes were good fun.
Well, I mean
one,
Knight
he's running
rocked
across
up
a
and
building top.
just ran.
For good reason, like he took them away from the people.
Yeah, but he's done that before. Like he knew exactly where he was going.
Oh, he knew what he was going. Yeah, absolutely. And it seems as if they just bring out the same creatures each time.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I didn't like the fight scenes. That were pretty nothing for me. The kind of end of the episode was pretty top tier trash.
I'm really sorry for those people who are watching because I can see the flicker. I can see it, and it's frustrating me too. What did you think of Khonshu as a character?
I can just see the air vent and half a painting. That's it. That's all.
What did you think of Khonshu as a character, Vincent?
Yeah, I mean, like he's a cool looking character, but also, I don't know. He was a bit of almost like a moody teenager.
Yeah.
It's
almost as if, and I know that it's hard to judge something that's come out because these characters are probably similar, but it's almost like the Venom Tom Hardy scenario where Venom is out there saying, like, I'm going to kill this man, and Tom Hardy's like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Which is fine because obviously these are properties that have existed for a while, so this is a dynamic that can occur in both of these properties, right?
Mm.
But also, I'm not sure if we're meant to be taking this as comedic or as being, scary. I don't know whose side. I guess is a good thing. I don't know whose side I'm on, other than obviously Mr. Stevens.
Yeah,
or Stephen Grant, whatever.
I mean, so far the Amit and Khonshu situation sounds like they're like siblings, and they're just I want to do it this way, I want to do it this way.
Yeah, like they might meet in the middle at the end, but they're not doing that right now. That's just stupid.
If you want to reach the show, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, send us an email. Sign up to the Patreon if you want. That's it. That's it, bro.
That's absolutely it. Like that's the end of the podcast.
That's it. 100%. Like what else can we say after that? Really?
I'll give this one a 6 out of 10 though.
Yeah, I'll probably give it a 7. A 7.
Yeah. Well, Vincent told you where you can find us, so hey, we'll talk soon.
Talk soon.